Hey, it's Calvin here. And, oh, what is that on my head? Maybe nothing. Oh. Just kind of had a spot on inspiration to make a video. And also, for the people that have watched my videos, I don't want you to misunderstand me. That's like my deepest wound from my childhood, is being misunderstood. But I made a video a while back, or maybe about a month ago, of saying, "Oh, I don't want to hang out with the cat down the road. I want to hang out with the cat here," And there's a guy that really inspired me, really inspires a lot of people, and I don't want people to like misunderstand me or him. It's like the impermanence of life. You don't always get attached to the same thing. Knowing when you need to go and hang out with the cat down the road, and knowing when you need to come back home and hang out with the kitty here, and sometimes you have to escape the toxic situation. And 3 years ago, I escaped a toxic situation, and actually a few months prior to that, in the fall, I ended up moving out of my parents' house, and I had a family friend that was just getting out of the Air Force in Washington. He was like a construction worker or military police officer or something like that. And, him coming into my parents' house like really gave the boost to me and my parents to push me out. And I was trying to get out of my parents' house for the longest time. And just the manipulation, I think on a subconscious level from my parents, from them thinking that, oh, Calvin can't go and do things on his own, and really like the confusion and manipulation, whether it was intentional or conscious or not, it really had a subconscious grip on me in my belief of what I'm capable of doing. And also, it's like I didn't learn how to do certain things in I guess what people could say this third dimensional reality. I didn't really learn those sorts of things because my parents or the doctor said, "Oh, he can't do that for himself." And growing up with being on the autistic spectrum with Tourette syndrome and OCD, I went through like a phase of OCD when I was a kid, and other things like that. Being microcephalic, like my prefrontal cortex is totally different. It's like I can't judge things like people normally do. So it leaves my mind's eye like wide open, and so it's like I'm having to like learn in my brain where my neurons are actually different in like regrowing to where it's like I see myself as the other person or other people, and then it's like it's confusing because it's like I'm in oneness, but I'm one with people that are not experiencing the oneness. And truthfully, one with everything means that you're one individual in this entire universe, and this body is a reflection of the universe. There's this guy, Hiroshima Neck or something, HRM, and he's a sun gazer. I think NASA did a study on him, and they measured his pineal gland, and it's like 11 centimeters, which is a lot bigger than other people, which is like the gland of light of the sun. And then, on the other end of that spectrum, it's not ultraviolet, it's infrared, and it's the earth, But it's really quite interesting because the sun has a cycle, 11-year cycle, where it flips, where it has a polar reversal, where like the north and south poles of the sun reverse, and it's like that's the solar cycle with the peak of solar activity, and then on the other end, grand solar minimum, which we are in right now, which there is some interesting things about that, where I feel like being a grand solar minimum, the way that we have been evolving in awakening our emotional body was through intense solar flares and that very masculine external kind of force. And now, as the sun's quieting and our magnetosphere is getting weaker, like the planets, but then our individual magnetosphere is getting stronger because of that. That's why that's quite freaking badass, right? It's so like even I don't know if you can even call them like bigger energies, like oh, cosmic ray, like how big is that cosmic ray? What's that energy gonna do to our DNA? And it really does do a certain thing to our DNA, and I'm still learning about this, but I feel like it's important for me to express and make videos and share it with people. I'm just like making pizzas, by the way, like making my own pizza dough, and got my yeast trying to, yeah. But anyways, some mushrooms all cut up, and yeah. I just kind of wanted to make a video kind of expressing that thing about knowing when to hang out with the cat down the road or when to hang out with the cat here around your family. And honestly, it's like being energetically sensitive and having these moments of being overloaded and overwhelmed by other people's energy and other people's energy triggering chords within you. Like last night I was funny, it was like at a bar, right? No, it was like a restaurant. And, my dad had 2 Dos Equis, and they didn't really bother me, but I feel like my twin flame sitting next to me, it pissed her off. And also just feeling that cord being cut. And that's another thing. Don't psychically trespass someone else's aura to cut cords and stuff. You have to respect the other person. Even though if you have the best intentions, it's like you have to kind of understand, in that situation, I just lost control and started having a meltdown from being overwhelmed. And it's like it happened like that because I was in a very samadhi, bliss state, where actually samadhi is balance between bliss and emptiness, I think. Right? That's what E is, right? Being on E, right? It's ecstasy and emptiness, right? It's the clear light. And that's the space between the earth and the sky, right? That's what the true color of emptiness, of the heart, of emptiness is, of the truth, is that the primordial essence? Primordial essence is still everything. It's just stillness that everything's contained there because everything comes from that, right? So, 3 years ago, I was had to get out of the toxic environment, and I had to get I'm originally from Kearney, Nebraska, and I had to get out of Kearney. I don't live there now, but I had to get out of Kearney, and I kind of want to visit there. I just had to leave the bar scene. I had to just circulate my energy in a new environment, around new people, and I ended up going to Sedona, which was the polar opposite of let's obsess over health and spiritual ego, and it's it's so crazy now because I come back here to Omaha and there's these health food stores, and I was walking at the mall here in Omaha, and it's almost every store is they had a Buddha statue, they had yoga stuff, and it's Pier 1 imports, right? And there's people are just trying to bank and make money off of a trend, and that's what businesses and capitalism has done forever. There's nothing wrong with capitalism, nothing really wrong with it. It's just people taking that idea and totally from greed and from desire, from the persona level instead of the ego level, trying to get what they want. It's really interesting about the shadow is beneath the ego, and the ego wants to change. The ego wants to evolve. The ego is your unique soul, your identity. But it's this persona that we put on to defend ourselves from other people in the world, to that makes us believe that we don't want to change, right? Kind of sucks. But it's this might trigger some people. Communism. You know, I heard someone say that communism, I don't know much about communism. You know, I wasn't born in the Cold War, so like, you know, I don't know. But communism, like, apparently is a very good thing. Very good. Well, it's kind of like socialism in a way where like everything's the same. But it's like a good idea. The reason why it always fails is because some person with a greedy agenda or whatever wants the power over other people. And it fucks it all up. And that's how capitalism is, but it's like distributed amongst a majority of people called the elite, right? The richest people in the world, whoever they are, you know, kind of controls the rest of the population through manipulation, through brainwashing, through and it's not some bizarre like conspiracy. It's just greed. It's just greedy people. But Cal here, thanks for listening to my message. I hope this inspires people. I hope that this helps people, and helps people not be attached to one thing or the other. You know, it's like, you know, it's okay to eat that cheeseburger if you need to release some sort of desire. You know, oh, I've been a vegan forever. Like, okay, like maybe you don't need to eat that, but maybe you do. Maybe some people do to release and to express themselves. So that's okay.